Okay, here it goes. So I'm going to share with you all the screen. So as usual, we shall have these all things discussed. Recap, chapter overview, chapter content, chapter summary. Okay. So what we discussed in chapter 15th. So these all things. So before that we do any further into this session, I'd like to do some prayers. I'd like to do some prayers, and I request you to you could also meditate upon that. Maybe like you are not able to follow that, but still you can meditate upon and you can hear it nicely. So, okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So in 15th chapter we had discussion about upside banyan tree, and we divided 15th chapter in 4 sections. So the first section we saw how one can overcome weakness of heart. So everybody have their own weakness of heart. Weakness of heart arising because of their wrong conception of their identity. Okay. So that's why to remove this weakness of heart, Lord Krishna is describing about this whole universe, which is compared to an upside down banyan tree, which is found sometimes on the bank of any pond, on the bank of side of any pond. So a tree, if you find, is being reflected in the pond. Okay, so what is that art of overcoming that weakness of heart? That is nothing but to understand our relationship in that tree where we are actually situated. So this tree is immense. It's like unlimited tree and almost imperishable. Like you cannot figure it out from where it starts, where it ends. And because we are entrapped into this tree and there is no way out. So Lord Krishna says, you must cut that tree down right where you are. Okay. So by detachment, by the weapon of detachment, one should cut. Okay. After cutting, one should not fall down. One should seek to that place where going, one no need to return back. Okay. So that place is called spiritual world, that Krishna is telling, that one must seek to that place where going once, one don't need to return. Okay. So then Krishna is going ahead telling how that spiritual world looks like. So he tells that that place of mind, which is not illumined by any type of sun, moon, electricity, that place is the place of eternal joy and happiness. And all of you are actually my part and parcel. And you are supposed to be there. That place is your place. You are supposed to be there in my association. So you must return back to that abode. Okay. Then from 6th sloka to 11th sloka, why one must ascend to the spiritual world, Krishna gives many different types of logics, not logics, I mean the different informations that we should have. So these informations are very, very crucial. And people usually they don't know that this is actually the fact. Facts like Krishna says that this the light what you are getting from sun, moon, and electricity, fire, everything is actually coming from me. So yada aditya gatam tejo jagat bhashyate khilam. Krishna tells that these all things are actually coming from me. Then Krishna tells that I am only who is actually keeping this everything balanced. How I am keeping everything balanced, even the planetary rotations also. So then he tells that forget about planetary rotations, that I am keeping them into balance. I am the person who digests what you eat. Okay, if I won't digest, then there is everything, whatever you eat, that's useless. Then he tells that even though whatever you remember, whatever you forget is actually granted by me. Whatever your objectives are, accordingly I give you all remembrance and forgetfulness and knowledge. Then at last, Lord Krishna says, what is difference between soul and super soul? Okay. So here Krishna goes ahead telling that soul and super soul are the two different entities. There are souls either in the spiritual world and material world. But apart from those two types of souls, there is third soul that's called super soul and Paramatma. And he is never fallible. He is the protector and he is the maintainer of all those souls, whether they are in spiritual world or in material world. And that super soul is none other than Krishna, who is the speaker of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna, in 19th sloka, he tells that I am that person. Okay, so telling that, he tells that those who are intelligent, those who are intelligent being, they actually take up to my devotional service very firmly. Okay, so now let's go ahead into 16th chapter, in which there are, we have divided into 4 sections. Okay, so first section from first sloka till third sloka, this is called divine qualities. So there are 26 divine qualities which is mentioned, and after that, second section, demoniac qualities are mentioned from 4th sloka till 8th sloka. Then from 9th sloka till 20th sloka, all those conducts of people influenced by demonic qualities are mentioned, how they behave into different situations. Then from 21st to 24th sloka, how to give up this demonic quality, even those demonic quality would be there in our own self. Practically with every one of us, there are some fraction of demonic qualities and some portions of divine qualities always there. We cannot say like he is a white and black and white, either divine or demoniac. So there are some people those who are divine, and there are people those who are demoniac. I mean, divine and demoniac. Okay. So there is saying that this whole time cycle of this world is divided into 4 sections. So what is that 4th section? The first section, this is called Satya Yuga, and second section is called Treta Yuga, and third is called Dwapar, and fourth is called Kali Yuga. Okay, so in Satya Yuga, demons used to live into far distant planets. In different planets itself, they used to live, demons, and the divine people used to live in a separate planet. But in the next Yuga, what happened in Treta Yuga, that demons and divine people started living in the same planet, but maybe in a different continent, like we see Ravana and Lord Ram. But in the Satya Yuga, we see Hiranyakashipu and different demigods like Indra, Chandra. They were practically on the different planets. Then comes Dwapar Yuga, in which living entities are divines and demonic people. They started living in the same family itself, like we see in the same family of Duryodhana and Arjun. They were actually from the same family. and one was practically 100% demoniac, and one was perfectly divine. But in this age is called Kali Yuga, in which the demonic people, the demonic quality, the demonic aspect of life is actually has gone inside our own self. So with everybody of us, he is having some portion of divine qualities and some portion of demonic qualities. So now let's see what are those 26 divine qualities which Lord Krishna tells in this chapter. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Abhayam Sattvam Sansuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Danam Damascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastapa. So like this, there are 26 qualities which he mentioned. What are they? Please let us see. So what is that first, which is called Abhayam, fearlessness. Okay, isn't it such a wonderful quality? Fearlessness. People are fearful of everything in this world. So many things are there, for which people are fearful. So many things. But one divine quality is that one should be fearlessness. Okay. So I like to quote many times from one personality. His name is His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is the founder of International Society of Krishna Consciousness. So this Abhayam is actually found in him. Very much, relevant, because he is not just from bygone ages from Satya, Treta, and Dwapar. He is a personality like we all lived. He was such a big businessman. He was a householder man, had 3 children, and after that, on the word of his spiritual master to propagate the Vedic Sanatana Dharma, the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, he left this Bharatvarsha, India, to propagate this knowledge to the far out distant places like USA and different places, taking such a great risk. At age of 69, 70, had 2 heart attacks and had practically nothing in his pocket. Okay, so in this way, he had actually shown how one should be fearless. So this is one of the divine quality. Then it's called Sattvam Samsuddhi, purity of consciousness. This is second quality. Third is called cultivation of spiritual knowledge. One should try to cultivate this spiritual knowledge, like what we are now into. Like I am speaking that what's called transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and all of you are hearing it. So this is also divine quality. Then comes dana. Okay, let me just edit it a little bit. Okay, so it comes, fourth one is called dana. Dana means charity. So this is specifically for those who are actually householders. Householders should do dana, the charity. Okay, so this is also divine quality. Then comes yajna. The divine quality is yajna, means sacrifice for the greater cause. Then sense control. Sense control is specifically meant for those who are householders. Okay, this should be sense control. Then comes swadhyaya, Vedic study. Then come austerity, tapasya. This swadhyaya is specifically for those who are students. Okay, swadhyaya is very much important. Then comes tapa, means austerity, specifically for those who are retired people. They should not just simply sit into their home, even after retiring, and they keep hearing different, rebuking from their own family men. Or they must not just squander their precious time into seeing movie serials and all those nasty shows which goes practically 24/7 on the TV. So rather they should do tapasya, austerity, so that they could purify their existence. So they have not enough time. They're retired and they should do actually some austerity. So then comes simplicity, arjavam. Simplicity of heart, simplicity of mind, simplicity of word and thoughts is actually such a wonderful divine quality. very rare to get, but at least we should know that these are the wonderful divine qualities. But nowadays, situation is that even somebody becomes more diplomatic, thinking very much, uh, very much curling and very much, very complex thinking. And they are actually supposed to be, this person is really very smart. Okay. And in this way, the standard of living has been put down. So where simplicity should be made into the standard and supposed to be divine, now the duplicitousness is actually made into standard. Okay, in this age of Kali Yuga. So then comes ahimsa, non-violence. 10th quality, non-violence. Non-violence to any living entity. We should not create problems and pain either into the human being with the human beings or with the other animals also. Those who are insignificant animals, which are fully dependent upon us. So okay, so just somehow this video got. Let me set this on. So we were in ahimsa. So this ahimsa is very, very important. Ahimsa means not creating unnecessary problems and suffering for the living entities. Okay. So then comes satyam, truthfulness. One should be truthful, even though there is going to be little loss, but still one should be truthful. That truthfulness gives you all that benefit. It will compensate all your loss, what you are thinking that I will get a lot of benefit by speaking some lie. But this truthfulness is something such a great value that it gives us really far, far more what we have actually thought of getting by telling a lie. So then comes akrodha. If somebody agitates us, there are many people in this world, they will always think how I can agitate or put a button so that somebody ahead of me or somebody in front of me will get agitated. And then somebody gets agitated and then they feel happy. Oh, so nice. I could understand now this person is agitated. My mission is successful. So to not getting agitated is also a divine quality, isn't it? Right? So we should have these qualities to have a happy life. Otherwise, if we have given our remote button to someone else, to someone else, then anytime he puts the button of krodha, anger, then automatically we are agitated. So one should be free from anger. One should be renounced. I mean, he should be detached. He should learn tyaga. Whatever comes in our hand, we should try to give to others. Try to gain some higher God, specifically for God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. So wherever there is a flow of something good, there is abundance of something good. Okay. So when anybody know how to utilize money in a proper way with a channel, then he can actually really become very much happy, and he can actually see life filled with affluences, filled with a lot of uh, prosperity. And this is the fact actually. So specifically people get attached with money. Chanakya Pandit says money has only three destinations. Okay. First is that by money, you will do bhoga, or just you will enjoy so many things, whatever you feel like. And second thing is that you can do some donation, you can do some charity at good place. If you don't do either of those two, then the third thing will take place. That's called what is that? It will simply get destroyed. Simply somehow or other it will get destroyed. So once you learn this divine quality of tyaga, then fourth comes aversion from fault finding, apaishunam. Then comes daya, mercifulness, compassion for other living entities. Then 16 comes freedom from covetousness, aloluptam, not getting too much greedy, seeing anything wherever we feel like it's good, then becoming too much greedy. Then comes Shanti, tranquility. One should be perfectly situated in peace, peaceful situation. One should not get very much agitated seeing somebody's progress or seeing somebody's prosperity. One should be perfectly situated in tranquility. Then comes gentleness, marjavam. Then 19th divine quality is modesty. Rih means thinking other living entities to be their own kinsmen or the children. Okay, caring, taking care of them. So this is one of the wonderful quality, modesty. Then comes achapalam. Achapalam is specifically for those who are on the battlefield, means kshatriyas. This is the real main quality for them, those who are actually fighting battles on the maybe on the border like BSF. So this would be uh, not showing their back to their enemies. This is called achapalam, not running away in the battle. Vigor, this is 21st quality. This is also specifically for Kshatriyas. Then comes Chama, forgiveness. If somebody comes and takes shelter of a Kshatriya, he should forgive him. Just like Lord Ramchandra did. Somebody asked him that, oh Lord Ramchandra, you given Vibhishan Sri Lanka. If Ravan somehow his mind would have got changed, have gone better, and he would have surrendered unto you, what you would have given to Ravan then? Because Lanka you would have already made in mind that you will give it to Vibhishan. Then Lord Rama told, I will give that to, I will give my Ayodhya to him. And what you will do? Then I will just be there and serve both of them. So this is called forgiveness that a Kshatriya must have, but not undue forgiveness. Undue forgiveness, you are understanding that this person is dubious. This person is someone who can be very much duplicitous. The Kshatriyas should never take a chance by showing this so-called divine quality of forgiveness, but rather punish that person who is actually going to behave in that way. Then comes Dhritihi, fortitude. Saucham, cleanliness. This is the 24th quality. This is very essential qualities. Adroho, freedom from envy. Then comes Natimanita, no passion for honor. Okay, so these are the 26 qualities. One trick for getting these all 26 qualities is there into this particular slide. So these divine qualities can be cultivated according to the social duties and position. So one should vigilantly cultivate these qualities. Okay, so these qualities are supposed to be there in every humans, those who are actually trying to cultivate divine qualities. So how to get into these all divine qualities? How to get these all divine qualities? How one can get? There's a one-step solution, one act solution. That is Krishna's devotional service. Devotional service to Krishna. If somebody does bhakti, my seva, to Supreme Godhead, all those divine qualities automatically comes into that personality. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunesh tatra samasate sura. Whoever does bhakti to Bhagavati, akinchana bhakti, then what happens? Sarvair gunesh, all these qualities automatically, sura means the divine qualities automatically becomes, automatically it gets into that personality. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadgunat manorathe nasati dhavato bhahi. And then those people, those who are not actually devotees of Krishna and Lord Narayana, their good qualities sometimes seen maybe impermanent, because when time gives different tastes and different trials, those all so-called good qualities simply subliments, finishes, and the real Swarupa comes out. So this is the trick. I mean, this is the way, the clue, how we can get to these all wonderful qualities. Okay. So now let's go ahead into second section of our today's discussion, demonic qualities. Krishna is going ahead telling, I have told you divine qualities many times in different chapters, I mean different places, Arjuna. Now today I'm going to really detail you what are the demonic qualities. Okay. So Krishna goes ahead. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Partha. See, pride means whatever we have little bit, we becomes very much proud of that and we start boasting about that. Arrogance, little bit somebody does little bit ups and downs and we are not able to tolerate that. Immediately starts thrashing him. Conceit means always thinking that how I will somehow the trick him or I'll get some benefit, some monetary benefit or some little benefit. Anger, a lot of anger on little things. Harshness, talking very harshly with people. And ignorance. At last, all that comes out from ignorance. That's called lack of knowledge of our own identity. So destination of these two types of people, Lord Krishna goes ahead and tells that these two types of people having different destinations, Arjuna. Those who are of transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, and whereas the demonic qualities makes for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pritha, for you are born with divine qualities. So to just make sure Arjuna that Arjuna is of divine qualities, Krishna actually gives this this particular words that, oh Arjuna, son of Pritha, these two qualities people having two different destinations. Okay, so those who are of divine qualities, they get liberated from cycle of karmas and result of many karmas, what they are going to suffer in the future, as well as they are actually going to get liberated from the repeated cycle of birth and death. But those who are not of, they are actually of divine demonic quality, they go more into different horrible type of species and get caught into sinful reactions many a times. So what are their characters? What are their features? Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done, what is not to be done. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha jana na vidurasuraha. So these people, they do not know what should be done, what not should be done. Because neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. So they are simply whimsical, just whatever they feel like, whatever their mind, they think that whatever satisfies my pride, that thing I will do. Okay, whatever satisfies my pride. So in this way, there are many such people. Even the recent history also has seen many such demoniac people. Because of them, lakhs of people actually have got butchered because of such demoniac people. Okay, so what their further proverb or slogans are, they say that this world is unreal with no foundation. There is no foundation of this world. There is no God in control. Everything is just automatic. And just we are here and just we have to do anything, whatever we feel like. There is no one seeing us. There is no witness. There is no one as God. Okay. They say it is produced of sex desires. Everything coming from sex. See, these two people are getting attracted with the sex, and they're getting some children, and like this is happening. Everything is based upon sex. So they see everywhere sex. There's two word things. So this is what Lord Krishna is telling you. Yeah, this is the fact. Asatyam pratishtam te jagadaharunishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kim anye kama hetukam. There is nothing better than, and there is no basis of this world other than lust. So they say that. So the role model of those people, you can see, find here this personality called Charles Darwin. He said that everything has just come by natural selection. So many people, they slowly they get evolved, and everything coming from chemicals. Okay, so now Krishna goes ahead and tells how they feel, how they behave, how they think, these demonic people. Conducts of people influenced by demonic qualities. Text 9. Following such conclusions, the demoniac who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the whole world. So their work are also very terrible. Ugra karma. Pravanti ugra karmana chayaya jagato hita. And they put themselves into such type of works, and because of that, they themselves put themselves into problem, and the whole society comes in problem. That we could see now. In 2019, somebody was somewhere in the corner of world. They were they were doing some experiment, some virus or something, and a very special type of virus came out and spread throughout the whole world, creating such a havoc, such a mess that now people are even fearful of going out of their home. So we can see people have become so much mad into this horrible demonic qualities that they create problems. And in the past, in the 20th century, the greatest invention of destruction what we did, and people are proud of that. That's atomic bomb. They think creating something horrible which can create havoc in the society, that's actually the benchmark of advancement, but that's not true according to Shastras. So how they go ahead? Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbing the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac thus illusioned are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. So they always think themselves to be the body, they think themselves to be impermanent, and that becomes the basis of their life, because they think themselves to be impermanent. So they say that whatever now you feel like you do, and best thing is that you just satisfy your lusty desires. Okay, so they have taken shelter of insatiability because life is very short, and their proverb is जीने के हैं 4 दिन, बाकी है बेकार दिन. And in this way, for doing that, to having that, they are ready to do anything. They are ready to do conceit. They are ready to do all the different demonic types of activities. And in this way, what happens? Their miseries increases more and more. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. That's I told you. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable, bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbing lust and anger. They secure money by illegal means for sense gratification, because they have made into their life only one objective and only one goal, that somehow or other I have to maximize my sensuous gratification. This is their aim and objective into their life. So putting that, whatever they feel like, how that objective could be fulfilled, they do. They even go and steal. They even go to do some different types of black business or everything, whatever they feel like they do. And in this way, they create so much problem into their life. Chintam aparimayamcha. Their chinta means their distress becomes so much that the thought of enjoying that, they end up becoming miserable. Krishna tells, already told in previous chapters, that somebody who is not peaceful, how can there can be happiness into that person's life? But demoniac, they don't have this type of understanding because they never had this Bhagavad Gita courses. That's why it's so very essential to actually spread the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita for humanity in general to get benefit from. The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in future according to my schemes. More and more, he is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies are also going to get killed, for sure. I'm perfect, powerful, and happy man. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful than me. As I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give charity, I thus shall rejoice in this way. Such persons are deluded by ignorance. They simply keep thinking into their mind, comparing with the nearby people. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by network of illusion, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and whoosh, fall down into hell. Okay, so this is their destination. Aneka chitta vibranta moha jala samamrita. See how this person is got entrapped into net. Moha jala samamrita prasakta. kam bhogeshu patanti narke ashuchau. But in this way, these people being filled with a lot of anxieties, they have no other way. They are not able to see any other way than to hell. Okay, and they gets into such a end that they cannot see the return. Okay, so this is a situation of people, those who take to shelter of demonic quality, self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige. They sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only. They, they create some type of dogmatic arrangement for sacrifices to show the people that there are also a religious people. They are also religious people. Okay, somewhere maybe in a month, twice or thrice, they will create such a big arrangement of sacrifices just for this namesake, to just show the people that they're doing some. He is also religious. They put something here, and they show to the people that they are also religious, but they don't have any single tinge, iota of faith in Supreme Godhead. So these are the characteristics. Ahankaram balam darpam kama krodham cha sanshida mahatma paradehishu pradvishanto abhyashuyaka. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are envious to the Supreme Godhead, who is situated into their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. The real religion of Sanatana Dharma, of complete adherence and surrender to the Supreme Godhead, they actually becomes very much against of that. They become envious to the Supreme God. They do so-called religious activities just to show the people, to make show of it. But ultimately, into their heart, they are very much against to the real culture of knowledge and religion. So, what Krishna tells, what is there into their fate? Krishna himself tells this. So many times people, they say that how Krishna is supremely and compassionate. His another name is Kripa Sindhu, means he is the ocean of mercy. But for people, those who don't think that Krishna exists or someone like God exists, they have understood that God is dead. There is no God in the scene. There is no God in this world. For them, God acts, but acts through his agents. And what happens to them? They have forgotten their identity and the relation with God. They fall down to very, very horrible life in species. Krishna himself tells those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men. No, this is for the men. This is for the, I mean, it doesn't mean that not for women. I mean, for the human beings for whom these all rules and regulations are actually meant. Okay, so these rules and regulations, dharma is not for the animals, that we must understand. Now, these animals are actually working by their instinct. Okay, so they work by their instinct, but humans are having really some little bit of freedom, whether to act in a good way or in a bad way. That's why dharma is only for humans. That's why we see in every type of section of human beings, they have some type of conception of dharma, some sort of dharma they follow. So what happens to those who are actually go against to dharma, they take up to the demonic principle? Lord Krishna says, those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast them in the ocean of material existence into various demonic species of life. And attaining a repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So let's go ahead. So much of demonic quality Lord Krishna described. But once again, he's telling how to actually come out from these demonic qualities and their horrible consequences. So Krishna tells, "O Arjuna, that there are 3 gates by which one can go into hell." So just living has to, we have to avoid those 3 gates. What are those? Lust, anger, and greed. There are 3 gates leading to this hell. Lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man, every sane man should give up these up, for they lead to the degradation of soul. So degradation of soul means soul gets into horrible types of bodies where there is only suffering. In human body, we have minimum suffering, minimum. But you cannot imagine how much suffering there in animal life. You see a little birdie, it picks up some little small seeds, and after taking one seed, he or she see what is here and there. Is there someone who is after me, or some cat is after me? So they are so much fearful. Every second of their life is filled with fearfulness. So this is so horrible to have this type of this piece of life. But we can avoid that. How? Just by avoiding these three gates: lust, anger, and greed. So Krishna has given this key. And Krishna says, the men who have escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains to the supreme destination. So this is the one way, one gate, one gate toward the light, another three gates to the hell. Okay, we have the three gates. To go down, we have multi options. But to go up, we have quite very few number of options. Very few people, they will say you that please go ahead, come out from these gates of hell and come ahead toward the path of liberation, toward path of bhakti. So Krishna tells those who are intelligent, they really take up this process of knowledge and process of shastras, as it is mentioned in the different revealed Vedic literatures. And those people, those who do not do so, what happens to them? Ya shastra vidam utsrajya vartate kamakaratah na siddhim avapnoti na sukham na paramgatim. He who discards spiritual injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. So those who act according to scriptures, they are in turn told to be divine. Those who won't follow scriptures, they are called demoniac. And those who do not follow scriptures, they cannot get peacefulness into this life. Forget about param gatim, to the next life. Okay. So Krishna comes and tells, at last, this is a type of conclusion only. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. This is the conclusion, in one sense, the ultimate lesson from this particular chapter. One should therefore understand what is duty. It's not like anything, whatever you do, it's like duty. Like suppose somebody can say that, oh, my duty is to kill and butcher chickens. And in this way, I sell them and I get a lot of money. This is my duty because this is the way I get money. This is nonsense. There are some philosophers in this, specifically in India, there are some philosophers that say, whatever you do, ultimately you get to one place. Whatever you do, whatever you feel like you do, just do it nicely. This is another nonsense has been spread by some people. This is perfectly contrary and against of Vedic literatures. And this creates so much problem and so much confusion to the people. They're not able to understand what to do, what not to do. And they're so confidently they are doing what they're not supposed to do. They don't know what is duty, what is not duty, and regulations of the scriptures. And in this way, forget about their elevation. So the lesson is from this particular chapter that one should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by regulations of the scriptures. And those all duties are going to get revealed into subsequent two chapters, what we have now, 17th and 18th. Please remain with us, and everything will be revealed in due course. Okay, so at last, we are there at summary. 26 divine qualities, starting from Abhayam, that what we saw in first section of our today's discussion. Then there are demonic qualities mentioned. And ultimately, What is the slogan for the demonic people? Everything of whatever their quality is, actually the activities conducts is based upon one slogan: there is no God in control. And the only and sole objective of this life is to just gratify senses by grabbing resources from anywhere, wherever you feel like, in whatever way. Then in third section, we saw what are the conducts of people influenced by demonic qualities. Their work is simply horrible for themselves and the people and the society. The work is very dirty. They're always proud, and they get into net of illusion and falls down into hell. And at last, Lord Krishna gives the way, the clue to come out from these demonic qualities. He tells that, oh Arjuna, there are three gates. Make sure avoid these three gates in this human life: lust, anger, and greed. Work conducive to liberation, act according to Shastras, and ascend to Krishna consciousness. Okay, so thank you so much for being with us. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if you have any question, any comment,